Okay, it's 2 p.m., so I will start. Hello, everyone, and thank you for being here in this webinar called Preparing Students for an Exam. So I'm John, and at ChallengeMe, I'm in charge of supporting the users in the use of the platform. So users can be teacher and or student. So if you have a technical question, you can ask me directly. So as I said, today we're going to see what kind of challenge we can use, what kind of format we can create to address the fact of preparing the students for an exam. So we will see two formats for that. First, I will introduce you quickly the company to explain who are ChallengeMe, and then I will present you the use case that we will see. So regarding the company, we exist since 2015. We work with business school, engineering schools, and universities, mainly in France, but also in Canada, Belgium, and Switzerland. We are fully integrated to the main learning management system of the market, like Moodle, Blackboard, Brightspace, and other LMS. It means that you don't need to have separate credentials to use the tool. You just need to add Challenge Me activity to your course. Um, so now we can see the use case the library that you can explore directly in the website. So the use case library is accessible if you click on application example and then use case library. And here you will be able to see all the way to use Challenge Me. So different use cases you can address. So you have all the use cases here, and you can also filter if you want to address some specific use cases. You can filter them just here. So, for example, job evaluation feedback, and then I will see all the use cases related to this filter. You have also a use case generator if you want to enter the subject of your course and some other information, and the tool will generate you some use cases you can address. So today we will see two use cases in this library: preparing students for an exam and peer-to-peer MCQs. So first, the first one, we can see the objective of the activity here. We can also see the different benefits of this activity and how does it work. So the idea with this use case is to allow the students to prepare them before an exam by assessing the work of others, by giving feedback to the work of others, and also by receiving different approaches on their work. The idea is that the students will go through a process where they will have first to submit a work. So here we'll ask the student to submit a work to the platform. It can be individual or in groups. Then we'll ask them to assess different pieces of work of others, individually or in group as well. For this use case, it will be more individually. So to assess the pieces of work and to give feedback following different criteria defined by the teacher. And then we'll have a result display where the students will be able to find out the different feedback from their peers with the different grade, and it will help them to understand how they can improve their work before the final exam. So the interesting thing with this use case is that the students will feel more confident at the exam because if they going off topic, for example, they will be able to identify it quickly. They will also have the opportunity to understand the criteria that they will meet in the final exam. So the criteria, they will be able to understand what are expected related this work by using this criteria and by focusing on this criteria when they have to assess the work of others. So by this way, they will have more chance to create a better work when the final exam will be there. So this is the three phases that we will see today. If you want to see other tips, you can also check them here uh, for this use case. And here you have also some example of criteria if you want to have some ideas. But we'll see just after all that you can create your own criteria or use from our criteria library. So this is for the first use case, which is preparing students for an exam. You can also prepare the student for an exam, but with a MCQ-oriented challenge. So here it will be the same principle, except that rather than submitting a classic work, they have to submit a MCQ they filled before, and then we'll ask them to assess the MCQ of others by indicating when the answer is wrong, how the students could find the solution. So they will exchange some tips, some advices to easily find a solution. So it can be mnemotechnic solution or some tips. So the idea is to formalize the different exchange they could have before MCQ between the students. So with the whole group. So we'll see the different steps just after. So now we can go to the platform. So I will go through a Moodle environment, but if you use Blackboard or Brightspace, it will be the same principle. You have a course, and in the course, you can have different activity, and you can have a challenging activity. And this is my case just here. Just before to show you what the students will be able to see in these two use cases, a quick infographic just to let you understand exactly how Challenge Me works. So in the challenge, you can have different phases. So you can have a rock submission phase where the students have to submit a rock, assessment and feedback on the rock. So we ask the participant to assess the rock submitting during this kind of phase. So to assess and to give a feedback. So we can enroll students, we can enroll teachers as well in this kind of phase. We have assessment and feedback on the group members. So here we don't assess a rock, we assess the teammates, the classmates with whom we have collaborated on a common work. We have a phase where the students can assess and appreciate the feedback received to indicate if the feedback was relevant or not, and the result phase to calculate a grade and to present the grade to the students. And then we can order the phases as we want. So we can begin, for example, with the rock submission phase. Then we have the assessment of students, and in the meantime, assessment by teachers, and a result phase. We can also have two intra-group. So this one assessment and assessment of group members phase, and then a result phase to see the evolution during a big project, for example. So just to let you know how Challenge Me works. So different phases, and we can order the phases as we want. So in our case, we'll have one rock submission phase, one assessment of rock phase, and one result display phase. So to participate, so I will first show you what the students will be able to see, and then after I will show you how you can create a challenge following this use case. So to access to a challenge, I just need to click on this activity as a student, and then I will land on this page. So on this page, I will see the three phases of my challenge. So if you have more, I will be able to see more phases depending of the challenge which have been set up. And then I can click on the first phase, which is the rock submission phase. I can check the instructions, and I will be able to add my work. So here I will can add a text and attachment if I need to add attachment. If it's a group work, I can see my my group just here. And then I click on validate. Then I have the assessment of rock. So here I can assess two rock. So let's imagine you want student to assess more rock. You can also define like that, but here it has been defined as two pieces of rock to assess per student. So I have the first rock here, and I have the different criteria here to assess it. So here I have clarity of presentation with the scale from 1 to 10 stars. I have something like a Likert scale here, so with predefined option. So the presentation is original creative. I can indicate if I don't agree at all, if I disagree, if I'm neutral, if I agree, or if I totally agree. I can also have predefined option with description associated to each option. So it can be sometimes easier for the students to use this kind of criterion because they don't need to give a score like this format. They just need to select the most appropriate option, and each label will be associated with the number of points. You can have open question with a feedback field like that, and a final open feedback if you want. So you can really create the criteria grid you want. So as a student, I will be able to improve my knowledge and to identify how I can improve my work by checking the different work I have to assess and to focus on the different criteria I have to use to assess this work. By this way, I will assimilate Notion to prepare myself for an exam. I validate this one, and I have to do the same for the last one. And then I have the result display phase. So here I can see the different the average by criteria I received from my peers, my grade, my final grade, and if I have several phases, I can see the different grade of the phases. But in my case, I will just have one. Here I have two others, but you don't need to pay attention to the two others because this is a demo. But in our use case, you will only have one grade because you only have one phase. And I can see the different, the average by criterion and the different feedback I received on my work. And this different feedback will help me to improve the way I address this exercise and to assimilate the different notions. Regarding the MCQ, it's a bit the same principle, except that rather than submitting a work, I will just enter a MCQ. So here I have to download this MCQ submitted by the teacher. And then I will answer in this field. Okay, question 1, this is response A, then response C, D, A, and so on. Once I did it, I can click on assessment of the MCQ. I will check the answer of others, and I can indicate just here if I think that the answer is right for the question 1. I can see A. I can indicate, okay, I think the answer is right. I have a doubt, or the answer is wrong, and I'm sure of myself. When the answer is right, you don't need to add a feedback. But when the answer is wrong, like that, you can indicate, okay, how the students can find the solution next time. And I can give some tips to the students to help him to find the solution the next time. So the idea is just to exchange tips and advices between the students to help them to find the answers the next time they will meet them, the questions. And at the end, result displays, the students will be able to see the grade they received, and almost, especially the different feedback received, so the different tips they have received on their wrong answer. So here I have some tips to find easier the question 2. The question 4, I can have other kind of feedback. Here I only have 2, but depending of the number of feedback I received, I can have more. So this is the idea to let students to exchange advices on the different question of the MCQ. So now we can see how we can create this kind of activity. So to do it, I just need to go to my Moodle course to be logged as a teacher in a course. And then I can click to edition mode. And I will add a challenge me activity like any other activity I can add in my Moodle course. So I click on add an activity or source and I will choose challenge me. So you will only have one activity. For me, I have two, but for you, you will only have one. You can add a name, click on Save and Display, and open a new window. And here, sorry, you can indicate what kind of challenge you want to launch. So you have submission and assessment of work. You have assessment of presentation without submission, assessment of members, and you have lots of use cases you can have just here. So for the MCQ, you will have here MCQ peer-to-peer. And to train the students, just checking if we have a template or not yet. You can just select the first one, which is submission and assessment of work. So we'll use this one for our example. So I click on it. I can add a title, a summary, and then I will have the faces already set up in this template. This is just a pre-configured option. You can add more faces if you want. So in my template, I have 3 faces, but if you need to add more faces, you can do it here, and you can edit everything. So you can also create a challenge from scratch, but in our use case, it's easier to choose a predefined challenge. So we can click on submission of work to set up this phase. So we can define a start date and an end date, add some notification if needed, add instructions to indicate what kind of work you expect in this phase. You can also add participants, so you can choose to enroll the students directly from your LMS. So the students and the groups, if you use groups, the group feature in your Moodle course or Blackboard or Brightspace. And you can also import them with an Excel sheet. So let's imagine you want to import them directly from Moodle. I will click on Enroll Teams if it's a group work. I click on Enroll Teams, and I can click on Edit Mode to synchronize the course I'm working on. So it's synchronizing the group. Okay. And then when it's finished, I can see all the users that I have synchronized and all the groups present in my course. So to select them, I just need to switch to edit mode and select the group I want to enroll. So let's imagine the 3 groups. So the three groups have been enrolled. So this is like that you can enroll groups. If it's individual, you do the same things, but by clicking on enroll individuals and by selecting the users just here. So I will unenroll all participants. No, I will let them here, but just to inform you that if you don't use the group feature in Moodle or in your LMS, you can also import them from an Excel sheet by clicking on import participant, and then you can download the example format to fill it, and you can import the file just here. So it's a file with a column email and a column team name, and all the students in the same team will have to work together. If you don't have the column team name, it will be individually. So once you did it, it's okay. You have set up the submission phase. Then you have the assessment of work. So here you can define same thing, start date, end date, instructions, and assessment criteria. So here you can add criterion from scratch. So you can add it, select the score configuration you want. So is it predefined options, stars, and other format. You can activate the feedback for this criteria if you want the student to also to complete this criterion, but also to give a feedback on this criterion, you can. And you can also choose predefined criteria by clicking here. So you click here, you have all the predefined criteria we propose in Challenge Me. So you can filter it by language, by criteria score configuration, and by name. And you can also choose a pack of criterion. So let's imagine, so I will click on Add Criteria Collection. I can choose a pack with related to the assessment of a poster or a video, for example. So I will choose a video, and then I will have different criterion related to the assessment of a video. So in our case, it will be an exam, so it will be maybe it's not relevant for you, but just to inform you that you can choose criteria pack if needed. Then you have the option tab to activate the global feedback and make it mandatory if you want, and the number of pieces of rock to assess by student. So here it's indicate 3. It means that each student will have to assess 3 other pieces of rock. We recommend 3 usually, but it depends the amount of time they have to spend on each pieces of rock. But usually 3 is a good number. And then you can enroll participant. Just a precision here. We have the option to remove the anonymous. So in my example, I removed the anonymous, but by default it's anonymous. So this option is not checked. If you check this option, the students will be able to see who they are assessing, but by default it's not checked. Then in the participant tab, you will indicate who will be the grader. So you can enroll new students, but you can also reuse enrollment from the first phase individually. It means that each student enrolled here will have to assess, will be grader here, but individually. And then in the result display phase, you can indicate what kind of information you want to display to the students. You can also hide the results for participant, but by default, it will be this configuration. And once it's done, you can click on Publish to make it available for the student. If you need to see before what the students will be able to see, you have a preview button just here. And then you can click on Simulation of rock to see what the students will be able to see, and Assessment of rock to see what kind of grid they will be able to see as well. So it can be useful when you set up the challenge to be sure that everything is well configured. And once it will be published, the student will just need to click on the Challenge Me activity in the LMS to access it. Let's imagine I wanted to create a MCQ. It will be exactly the same way. So I will add a new one. I go to my course, edit mode, add an activity resource, challenge me. And then when I will select the template, I can choose the MCQ template. So MCQ template, I click on create. And then here I will have a template specific to the MCQ. So here you have predefined instructions. So with this instruction, you can add here the MCQ you want the student to complete. And then in the assessment of MCQ, in the evaluation criteria, we'll already have question 1, question 2, question 3, question 4, and others to allow the students to complete the different criterion. So usually you just need to let them like that, or to add more questions if you have more questions. Once everything is ready and once the students have beginning to work on the activity, you can follow the participation by clicking on the Challenge Me activity in your model course, and then you will land on this page, allowing you to access the result. So just for this, for my challenge, I just have a little trouble, but I will just wait a little bit to show you what it looks like. Okay, so here you will have the different phases of your challenge. It's not the challenge we have set up together, it's just an example with some data. So you have the rock simulation phase, so you can see here who are the students who have submitted a work, and you can access the work by clicking on here. You can also access to the assessment of rock. So you click on the phase, and then you will be able to access to this this information and also to access to all the grade by clicking on display result phase. So here you will be able to see all the grade received by each student. So you have the grade here and the different grade for each of the faces if you have several faces. You can also export all the grade by clicking on the export. So we'll have all the grade in an Excel sheet and all the feedback exchange between the students. So and the participation, of course. So you will have all the information in the Excel sheet if you prefer to work on it. So I'm done with this presentation. I hope everything was clear. If you have questions, you can ask us at coach@challengeme.online, and it will be a pleasure for us to answer you. Don't hesitate to check the use case library to see the different use cases you can launch with ChallengeMe. And if you need a one-to-one meeting, do not hesitate to ask us if you need it to create your first challenges. I thank you everyone, and I wish you a pleasant day. I hope see you soon on Challenge Me. Bye.